Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me and having this conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me for this beautiful conversation about death and grief,
Yes.
and how people healing from the loss of a beloved one.
Yeah, I think it's such an important conversation to have.
I guess.
And I know you and I have worked together on many funerals, and I appreciate the care and compassion that you bring to the funerals that you do. So I'm very happy to be able to have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Icebreaker question for you. What does Imam Mohammed like to do for fun?
It's a really surprising question, and you know what? I look, the fun aspect for every moment, for all my activities, for what I'm doing, because I always think in a positive way, even under pressure, even in the most sad time. I look, in a beautiful way. So I always try to bring a smile, and always to try to be optimistic.
Right.
So I think I'm not just thinking of the fun aspect. It's away or disconnected from what I'm doing on a daily basis.
That's excellent. I like it.
Thank
And I
you.
think we can all learn something from that. No matter what we're doing, look for the fun that could be in it, and bringing a smile.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be just foolish things to do or just nonsense things. Everything we can be looking for fun.
That's correct, and that's a great aspect in our religion, because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said even a smile can be a charity. So it's an act of worship. We do it in the sake of God.
Okay.
And actually we engage people to that, So when you smile, people smile, and you feel good, It's something that you give, and at the same time, you gain it, when the people engage with you.
Yeah, that's good. I think is it a saying or a song? Smile and the world smiles with you, because it's contagious.
Yeah.
And it brings joy.
That's correct.
Cool. So tell us, what is your position, and what vision do you have for the families you serve in the community?
I'm an imam. Imam, basically, the Arabic word mean the prayer leader,
Okay.
or spiritual leader. And me being as an imam, I'm putting myself to serve the community. So there's no kind of hierarchy in Islam. It's not like a church, like when there is a level of people serving the community.
Right.
Just an imam, somebody educated in his religion, and he dedicated his time to serve the community.
Okay.
I try to serve my community in all different aspects, for all what they need. We are so connected. We are trying to come together all the time. And actually, we as part of our practice, we come at least 5 times a day in the mosque. So we are so connected.
Yes.
And that's actually, it's important. The social aspect is very important, as now the world being isolated and everybody alone because of Corona.
Yes.
And people, the hardest part for them, that they cannot come to the mosque.
Right.
That was the hardest, part for them. And when the pandemic, as we hit by that, I said to myself, this is not actually the worst crisis. The worst crisis is gonna come after, because people, they will suffer from those they lost a job, those they lost dear or one to them. So they're gonna have a spiritual crisis, and actually we are hitting that at this time.
It's true.
And that's why I value this topic when you ask me to talk about it, because I think this is the coming pandemic or crisis. That's the problem that we need to try to find solution or suggest solution for that before it's overwhelmed many of us.
That's so true. I think a lot of people don't realize that isolation and the loneliness can have such a negative impact on people. And what you had said about being before coming here 5 times a day, would that be 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7
Oh
days
no, it's every day.
Every day.
Every day.
That's an amazing sense of community.
Yes.
I don't think I know of any other religions that have it that often, but that really would draw you together so tight.
We totally, the meaning of one family, it's applied here. And the meaning of the multiculturalism, as Canada, it's a multicultural society, it's applied here in our mosque. We do have over 100 different nationality, and they speak in more than 60 different languages.
Wow, how many languages?
But all together, like, you know, as one family, in harmony, we all speak the same language, the language of love.
Oh,
you know, despite you know the different language that you know we are speaks at home.
That's so. The Bible talks about because I'm a Christian, and it talks about agape, and that's the language that all Christians speak. And agape means love.
Okay,
it does.
That's good.
Yeah. So I heard a story one time. This person was in prison. I think it was a missionary. Well, he was in prison, and somebody else came, and they didn't speak that person's language. And the guard said, "What are you doing?" And he just wanted to encourage the prisoner. And he said, "I'm here to encourage the prisoner." He said, "What language do you speak?" And he goes, "I speak this language." And then he goes, "Oh, the prisoner doesn't speak that language." And then he goes, "Oh, I also speak agape."
Okay.
And then the guard goes, "What's that? I've never heard of that." And then he goes to the prisoner and he goes, he says he speaks agape. Do you speak agape? He goes, "Yes, I speak agape." So he was allowed to visit the prisoner, and then they were able to communicate. It was,
so they find way to communicate.
Yeah, they
That's
did.
Correct.
Yeah. And actually, interestingly enough, the way they communicated was they knew the scriptures really well, so they would say a certain passage, and then the other person would look it up in their language, and then they would read it, and they would be encouraged, and then he would say another passage to him, and he would look it up in his translation, and he would be able to read it. It was, so it's agape in the language of love.
Okay.
How many languages do you speak?
Besides Gabe?
Yeah, besides agape.
Okay. My original language is Arabic, and I know just a little French. So
okay, and English.
And English.
Good. Well, I just speak English and agape. So.
It's enough for you. It's good.
Yeah. So can you tell me what traditions, and I know there's a lot of different communities here, but what traditions would your community have regarding death and funerals?
Okay, first of all, death is the ultimate fact and nobody can deny. That's something that always we remind ourselves, and we're all going to the same way. Our time will come. It's just a matter of time, and it's better that it comes when we are ready than we are not. And that's why always we should remind ourselves and not forget.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we act in this life as if we are staying and living forever.
True.
And we forget that we are going to die.
Remember, we don't like to think about
remember that actually it's a way of healing. The Prophet Muhammad said, "تذكروا هادم اللذات." Remember the destroyer of the desires. He meant the death. Because when you remember the death, let's assume that you are away from God. That will bring you back. Will make you really devoting, repenting, will make you really, preparing yourself because you are going to leave,
Right.
And if you are depressed, this life is short, and all this suffering will gone.
Yeah.
And what's waiting for you, it's better than what you're going to leave behind. So it's always good to remember, the death, but not to the point that you're being desperate or being scared from that. No, remember that in a way to give you a reminder before the actual reminder, which is death. But that's too late. Some people, they've been hit by the death, and they left this world without realizing the purpose of their existence before they really having meaning for their journey of life. So as a community, we believe that death not end of it. The death, it's a beginning. It's a beginning of the hereafter. For other life, it might be better than this life. For those, they spend this life in the sake of God, because we plant today in order to get the fruit tomorrow. This life is like a farm for the hereafter. When somebody dear to us die, the only things that make us feel bad that we are going to miss that person.
Yes.
But knowing that he's going to a better place, that give us joy and love, you know. And we are hoping one day we are going to united and we're going to meet, you know, again.
Right.
So death, it's a calamity as mentioned in the Quran. It's a mention as a calamity, as something people they're gonna suffer, something, you know, people they're gonna face. But at the same time, we know for a fact we are not gonna stay forever here. As in our tradition, the only one was given choice: either he's gonna stay forever or gonna meet his Lord. That's our beloved Muhammad, peace be upon him. When he was given the choice, he chose to stay with the high company. He chose to go to God because he knows that life, the hereafter, it's better than this life. And he knows for a fact. That's why he was not sorry about what he's leaving behind.
Right.
You know, so we have as believers to believe in the hereafter, and we have to focus actually in hereafter. If we can gain both this life and hereafter, that's the excellent way, the ideal. And if we cannot, we're gonna choose, we should actually choose the hereafter. So in other words, we should not sacrifice the hereafter just because of gaining this life.
Right.
And that's what some people doing. Just focus about this life, and they forget about hereafter. Right. This life is short, is limited, and it's not the best.
Right.
And that's why we should shift our focus about the hereafter. And that's actually will help us to grow in this life, to work in this life, because whatever we're gonna face, we know that in the sake of God. Whatever we're gonna face, we know this is one part of this life, because this life attached with a struggle. So it's not the ideal one, it's not the best one. So we are hoping for the, you know, the best where it's coming, you know. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. It reminds me of a proverb that says, it is better to be in the house of mourning than at a wedding party. And that's a very old proverb. And just to your point, it is good to remind ourselves of death so that we can live today to be ready for that time.
That's correct.
And
the Prophet Muhammad, as one of his wisdom said, be in this life as if you are a stranger or just somebody passing through.
Right.
كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر السبيل. And look at both situations. The stranger person, so he's not belong to that place. Or somebody passing through, he's not, you know, a resident. He's just a traveler. Yeah. So if you think that you are a traveler, you only just taking with you what you needed for that, you know, journey. You know, sometimes we are busy collecting from here and there and busy with all of that. And all of that means of life, you know, and forget about the goal. Right. And, you know, all seeking means, you know, and that's why sometimes I joke with my student. I told them, do we eat to live or we live to eat? Yeah. So they get confused a little bit. Do we eat to live or we live to eat?
What's our priority?
So do we, you know, eat and entertain ourselves and being busy with this life just to live? That's, you know, our goal. Or we eat, you know, as means. So eating, drinking, entertain ourselves, all that means for life. So the goal is something ultimate, something beyond all of that. Many people, they get lost because they focus on their means and they forget the goal. And that will make us close to our goal, you know. And that's you know, that's why we're not saying that we are happy, but we are not that sad if somebody died, you know, in a way that he fulfilled his duties and he was ready, and his departure came when actually he fulfilled what was required, you know, from him. So again, that's what come. You know, either we are ready or not. It's better for us to be ready.
That's right.
When it comes, we'll never be delayed.
Yeah. Now, when somebody in the Islamic community dies, what happens with them? Like, what is the tradition to do? I've been on different funerals, and I've had a little bit of context through that. But if you can explain to someone who's never been through that.
That's correct. First of all, you know, as a concept, when somebody's dying, we remind that person about the most important thing that should focus on that, and if somebody was attending there, like at the time of death, should take care of the body. We're closing the eyes and the mouth and straightening the body and saying some supplications.
So who does that?
Any family member or a person was attending there, or a clergy or whoever, has some knowledge to take care of of that, and we have to take care of the body and with all respect and with all care. The Prophet said, broken the bone of dead person as you're broken the bone of a living person. So that means you have to be gentle and nice and kind with the body and protecting the privacy of the person. Right. Even the time of a washing, we washed multiple times the body and make sure that giving the purification to that body with all way possible without breaking the privacy of the deceased. And we handle it in a gentle way. Yes, there is a certain procedure we do, and actually we encourage people to attend that service. Mm-hmm. So it's not limited to certain people, the family members and others. And actually, that's one of the ways of healing.
Right.
I have noticed myself the last lock, or the last time the person will see that dear one, that's actually give kind of a settlement.
That's right.
It's really
it's
good.
A bit of healing.
Yes, we encourage people to be take part of that procedure, and if not, at least they will see the person at the last time. Mm-hmm. So that's will help them. Yes, they might cry, and crying, it's nothing wrong with that. It's a source of mercy. Yeah. If you're not crying, that means there's something wrong about a heart. So the tears, that's a sign of mercy. We should not hide it. Why you feel embarrassed to hide it?
Sure,
some people say, "Oh, you're a man, you're crying." No, it's not. If somebody is not crying, that means something wrong about that person. It can be a show
of strength and
yes, So it's a sign of mercy, sign of softness of the heart.
Yeah.
So we encourage people, to let it go. Why you hold it in? Because it's not good for you. So that's one of the ways to help people. So
I think both of those things that you said should be more applied in the Northwestern culture, is having that time to be with your loved one, and even the bathing and the dressing. That would be foreign to us, but in the funeral home, I witnessed that with other different cultures, and I think it's actually a really good thing for healing as well, because you're taking care of your loved one. You probably bathed them when they were alive. If they're an elderly person, you would bathe them and help clothe them. So now this is possibly the last chance you're able to do that, and you're able to bathe and dress them.
And personally, I noticed that those people involved in this, even one time in their life, that has a great impact on them. Let alone for those that are doing that regularly and they are helping and volunteering in this. I saw them that have kindness and they have better heart than even other people.
Right.
Because, they saw the meaning of this life. This life means nothing. We sometimes we are running behind it, and we are looking for the numbers and increasing, and we are going to leave all of that behind.
Right.
According to our tradition, there are three things following the dead person, the deceased. One of them will leave the person at the time that the soul leaving the body.
Okay.
Which is his properties, or her properties.
I've heard you discuss this at a funeral before. Yeah.
All what you have, you're going to leave behind.
Yeah.
You're not going to carry with you not anything except the white cloth that you're going to be covered with. That's all.
Right.
As simple as that. And the second thing will leave you at the time that people place you in your grave.
Is the people?
Yes.
Right.
Beloved one, your families, or everybody. Everybody. Nobody will stay with you.
Right.
They might cry for you, they feel sorry, but none of them say, please bury me with with my father or my mother. And the only things that will stay with you, that's your deed. And if it's a good deed, that will lighten your grave and break in your silence, and that's a good for you. You will find the reward of that at the moment we'll be placed in your grave. That's why we should focus about doing good deeds, volunteer actions, helping others, more than just collecting from here and there and wasting our time, with satisfying people. Those even they don't want to, nobody can satisfy them, But making God is happy. That's a more important, and that's what's remain and last.
I think that's the one thing that almost every religion has in common should be to be doing good unto others. And I think that's, if you look at almost every religion, it's about good deeds and doing good deeds. And that's, it's interesting how that is such a common moral theme, is to do good and to show love to others. And I see that through Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam.
Actually, it's not only just as an option. It's our duties, and it's important. The Prophet said, you will never enter paradise until you love each other. And you will never, actually, he said even another word, even stronger, you will never have belief, complete level of belief until you love one another. And لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه, until you love for others what you love for yourself. So it is very important. It's not just a condition. It's a rule. It's a duty upon us. So we have to act in this life in that way, in the way that God assigned for us. When He created us for a purpose. And it's very important to realize our purpose before our departure. I always give, this example, this analogy, and think of this. You are sitting on a train and somebody with you. You know that you are heading to Toronto, for example, going for a conference. And the person beside you, he has no clue where the train is going, and he doesn't know why he's sitting there. What do you feel about that person?
Why are they there?
You feel
why they're purposeless.
They get lost. They lost. Yes, they need help. You feel sorry for them. Is that right? Yes. So you feel sorry for the person. He doesn't know the purpose for a short trip. So what do you think about person? He doesn't know the purpose of the most important journey, the journey of life. So it's very important that we know the purpose of our existence before our departure, and we should ask ourselves why we are here on this planet. It is important. That's, I think, the most important question that we should ask ourselves, because we cannot guarantee our life. The time could come anytime.
That's right.
Nobody can say I'm healthy and I'm young and have no issues. I know many people, they want to sleep and never make it to next day. So every day, that's according to our tradition, it's a bonus. Every day, extra day, it's another chance. That's why we sit in the morning, all praise to God, the one He revived us after our death, because we consider sleeping as a minor death, because we might not make it till tomorrow.
Interesting. Yeah. Thanks. It's it's interesting, the focus on loving others, and it reminded me when you were saying that how I think Paul said we love Him, God, because He first loved us and gave Himself for us. And once we, as a Christian, I see I see how Jesus, God, loved us so much that He actually gave Himself for us. And we were talking earlier about tears are strength because they show mercy. And some people would say, well, how is that a strength if you died? But that's the ultimate strength, is to conquer by not killing, by not attacking, is to conquer by giving up your own life. And that's like the ultimate strength. And if we see that and we know that He did that for us, then how could we not love Him in return and love others? Like, that's, if He did that for me, He also did it for everyone else. And if He loves everyone that much, then I also need to love everyone as well, and take from His example in that way.
You know,
I know we see things a little bit differently.
Yes,
through our religious perspective.
There are many things that are in common, and always we focus on our commonality than the other thing. But we love Jesus, peace be upon him, and that's part of our faith, and we respect him so much. And he was mentioned in the Quran by his name 25 times. Was Muhammad by his name? Muhammad is only 4 times. You see?
Wow.
Yes. So Isa or Jesus, was mentioned a lot in the Quran,
and
we love him so much.
He's part
and we consider him as a great, a prophet. He's one of that great family of a prophet here.
And he has like lots of different prophets or men have so many good things to learn from. Even if maybe that you might not see him the same way, there's different things. Like I've read some things from Gandhi, and I thought, wow, I can really learn something from this. And even some of the community aspects of the Islam faith, I was like, wow, you know what? We need to learn from each other.
If you think of it, it's all comes from the same source. It's all came from the same source, and that's why you have you see there are many things in common. All those messengers came to teach people the message that from God. And one of the main aspect that's all agreed about speak about the life after death. It's
very important. Now is your chance to ask me, Daniel, the funeral director, anything.
Okay. You know what? I think many people ask, like involving in this service and helping the community. I'm sure that's rewarding, and that's something that's as a great reminder, and always it's like a waking up call. However, is that might be in the other side, killing your heart and make this like a normal, like seeing dates, every day.
Right.
If became, what?
It's a common question that I get.
Yeah. Okay.
And because I work with death every single day. I don't know when I pick up the phone and answer it if someone's going to say my loved one just died. Who else has a job like that, right? But that's what we put ourselves. This is our calling. I feel like it's a ministry for me. When I go to work every day, I see it as a ministry, and it doesn't weigh me down because I think, how can I make this difficult time a little bit easier for somebody, and share God's love with the people who I'm sitting with, and the people, their guests, people around them. How can I share love to those people, and to make it a little bit easier to walk them through that hard time? Because there's like documentation that we have to do. There's government documents. There's a lot of different things that we take care of in the background that nobody sees that we do. And I think that's important, that we can help out in those aspects, so that the person grieving the loss of their loved one doesn't have to worry about registering the death with the city, right? It's a paperwork that we as a funeral home and funeral directors, we take care of, because that's part of our job. So we can do those things. We can help organize things. I know you also will help organize times and places, and we can do all of the logistics in the paperwork, so that it makes it easier for the person going through that hard time. And that's why it doesn't weigh on me so much, because I'm able to bless others on a daily basis. Yeah. So
unfortunately, sometimes we gather on such occasions more than we gather in other. But this is the life, and this is the things we have to go through.
Yeah, and it's good to gather on these occasions, because then everybody is there is reminded of death. Yes. And this is I think the theme of our conversation today is to be reminded of death is healthy, so that we can be reminded of how to live.
That's correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking this time and having a conversation with me. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I'm really happy for that. And as we see, death not something that we should look at it as bad things.
Right.
You know, it's something. Yes, it might bring tears, but at the same time bringing people together.
Yes, yes. Well, and thank you to everybody for watching, and I hope that you were encouraged and inspired today.
Thank you.